You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here on WGVE 88.7 FM. It's the hottest time in the region. It is the best time. It is Sizzle time. What could be better than that?
You know, we got to make it hot. You know, okay, I'm not a New Year's resolution guy anymore because I used to be a New Year's resolution guy. And then I just found out I break them by the time, by the time February gets here. Mm-hmm. But one thing we're going to do, we are going to have a sizzleria.
Sizzleria?
A sizzleria. You know how people have like a pizzeria? Is that really a pizza place or is it a pizza? See, I don't understand. Is it a pizza restaurant or is it a pizzeria?
That is something, in thinking about it, I've never even thought of it in such a manner. But I know somebody who probably could answer that about the pizza restaurant versus a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And that's probably Frank Marshall from CCP. Frank the Tank, what's good with you, bro?
Hey, man. How's it going? Happy to be back on with you guys.
Hey, Frank, we got a discussion going on now. So,
let's hear it.
All right, now. Is it a pizza restaurant or is it a pizzeria? Is there a difference between the two? Because I say there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? I say when you go to a pizza restaurant, that means you got calzones and you got all the other type of stuff. But a pizzeria, you're coming in there to buy pizza. You know what I'm saying? And they got slices. You know what?
I agree. A pizzeria, that's like some legitimate, straight up, just pizza type stuff.
Yeah. All that other. You got an Italian restaurant that just happens to sell pizza. And I'm gonna tell you what. If you go to an Italian restaurant that just happens to sell pizza, sometimes the pizza's not that great because they want to get funky with it. Frank, they want to put goat cheese on your pizza. Why are you putting goat cheese on your pizza?
It's just as bad as putting pineapple on your
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Now, I'm not
You ain't putting no pineapple on that pizza.
I'm not going to let you all besmirch the name of pineapple on the pizza because I wasn't into it, but then my roommate was into it at school, and so I got one, and I was like, that's not bad.
Now, Frank, I just want to know from you, are you an original sauce guy, or do you like that real sweet sauce? There's that real sweet sauce? Which one do you like the best?
Well, it's interesting that you said that because I do love both. I don't mind both, but one of my favorite pizza places, because I'm not out in the city, I'm out in the suburbs.
Okay.
But I love me a Palermo's pizza, and their sauce is sweet.
Yeah.
I love me Palermo's pizza.
Yeah.
But I don't have one I prefer either or anything like that. I love both of those pizzas.
All right, you can't go wrong with pizza anyway. But we can see some things that can go wrong. We're talking about this draft for the Chicago Bears, Frank, and we know you got some ideas about this because, man, I tell you, do they stay or do they go, Frank? I just want to know what's going to happen.
Last year, I think pretty much 95% of Chicago knew that Justin Fields was staying. This year is totally different. My opinion, what I want them to do, I think their best chance to be competitive next year is keeping Justin Fields and building around him.
I said the same thing.
I am not a fan of Caleb Williams. I am going to say it right now. I am not. Because of the fact, and this is the thing, you can say, oh, Frank, you only go out and watch highlights. Frank, you only do. I actually, because I know how desperate the Bears need a quarterback nowadays, I watched pretty much all the games for USC.
Okay.
The guy he's competitive. There's no question about that. He has great footwork. He has great athleticism. But the thing is, every single thing that he does good, Justin Fields can do too. But the difference is Justin Fields is bigger, he's stronger, and in my eyes, not in my eyes, he's clearly faster. So I feel like you're taking a step back because Justin Fields struggles at reading defenses. I know this. Everybody knows this. He needs to see and react a lot quicker. But that stuff is coachable. All right, where are the coaches coaching him on this stuff? That is my big problem.
Okay, Frank, we've seen Justin Fields for 3 straight years now. I mean, he got injured and dinged up a little bit. He's one of those guys. I don't know if we're going to see a full 17 out of him. I just don't. I think he's one of those guys that plays a little bit too fast and wants to do a little bit too much and still hasn't learned to get down yet. But we've seen a really good amount, a high sample of quarterback play now from Justin Fields. And why do we believe, or let me ask you a question, why do you believe that Justin Fields with the right type of, or with the right type of coordinator, will he be able to read the field?
Well, when you look at some of the games where Justin Fields played great, go this year with that Atlanta Falcons game, how very, very good he played. Getty called a completely different offensive scheme. All right? The OCs that we had, I mean, honestly, the OCs we've had for a very long time, but Getty in particular, I feel like he had a massive ego where he wanted Justin to work in his system so bad. Justin Fields is not Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Getty got the job because he tied Aaron Rodgers' shoes perfectly because he did not need anybody coaching him. He was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right, Getty should have never have gotten that job, period. But when it's all said and done, when you're going to keep running a system where Justin Fields runs 5-step drops pretty much 70, I think it was finalized 78% of his drop pack passes were 5-step drops. All right. When you watch Justin Fields at Ohio State, other than the fact of when he had a dynamic offensive line and he had dynamic receivers, he had 8 to 9 seconds to throw the football.
Yeah.
But he was so dominant in throwing slant passes. And this is for everybody to think about right now. Do you know how many slant passes Getty called all 17 games this season?
No, how many?
He called 14.
That's it?
14 slant passes. 7 out of those 14 were to Cole Kmet, who is not the guy you're running slants to.
So he's not driving the ball into the slot.
When you got somebody like DJ Moore and those speedy type receivers that they have, you work them in there with those slant plays. And then you look at, I know they just lost today, but the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud, they averaged 11 slant plays called a game.
Yeah.
And look at what C.J. Stroud did.
Yeah, he played great, but when you take away the run game, like that bludgeoning Ravens defense did.
Absolutely.
You know, he became a one-trick pony after that because the play action meant anything. Because they know you're not running against this front. Play action's not going to happen, and he wasn't able to push the ball downfield in those seams like he wants to because they weren't giving him that single high safety look over the top, you know?
And people don't realize that the run game is a completely different ball game when you are running in 10-degree weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
This isn't Houston. It is a lot easier to run the ball in Houston, Texas than it is in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing you've got to look at from the Ravens game, and for those who didn't see the game today, it was at halftime, it was a toss-up. It was a coin toss. Yeah. Nobody knew where this was going to go. And I'm glad we're talking about it because Greg Roman, one of the offensive coordinators that the Bears brought in, former OC for the Ravens, the other 9 on what we're seeing. Remember, there was talk last year going into the beginning of the year that Lamar Jackson may not be the right fit for Baltimore because he does everything that we think of Justin Fields could do. And if you don't have a mobile quarterback in the NFL, then something's going to be wrong because he's going to get stuck up, hung up, beat up somewhere. But what you see right now, I'm going to throw it out here, Frank. I think, and maybe I just thought too much about this. Maybe I put too much thought into this. I'm looking at the OCs that they're bringing in right now. I know that there's a report that Cliff Kingsbury really impressed them.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. That is nothing but to drive that number 1 pickup through the roof by saying that was a great interview.
And here we go. So here's the thing I'm thinking. And maybe you can tell the listeners if I'm not thinking correctly. My thought is you're not just looking at an OC. You're looking at if things fail with Eberflus next year and you don't get into position like Houston or like Baltimore, that you're now OC becomes your head coach. Yeah. Am I a little bit off on that?
No, you are not. And that is a great – I mean – That's where you're going to be getting those big interviews with, say, like a Josh Bieniemy. Like those type people who can be head coaches if they want to. I mean, that would make sense if you're going to be bringing in an offensive coordinator. You're going to do like what they did with Bieniemy in Washington and make him assistant head coach. Because if it doesn't work out for the first 5-6 games of the season, I have a feeling, because this isn't the Bears organization calling this shot, This is Kevin Warren and this is Ryan Poles, and I feel like they will fire him 5-6 games into the season if it starts off bad again.
All right, hey, okay, Frank.
Okay.
Frank. If they're going to have a short leash, right, with this head coach, why not just bang him out the door right now?
If it wasn't for our defense improving so much, I feel like he would have been out the door. Because we lost our defensive coordinator. He took over the defense. Our defense literally went from the first 5 games to dead last in the NFL to finishing off in the top 12 in the NFL. And not to mention the second half of the season, they were top 5 in the NFL. Like, that's impressive. And don't get me wrong, this never would have happened if Poles didn't make the genius idea of trading for Montez Sweat, because that made a huge difference. It made a massive difference in changing our defense, because a pass rusher makes everybody else's life behind him that much easier. But if our defense probably finished top 20, I don't think Eberflus would be here next year.
So let me ask you a question, Frank. We're banking Eberflus on the mere fact of a factor that he really didn't have that much to do with, because they brought in the Tasmanian Devil. That's what I call him now. The name hasn't stuck, but I'm selling T-shirts if anybody wants one. You have Montez Sweat, right, who we know is that guy.
Absolutely.
He's that dude, and he made that defense become stellar on the back end. I mean, the defense, the Monsters of the Midway showed up. But the Monsters of the Midway, the last 4 or 5 games there, they showed up and played hard.
I'm not going to say
Absolutely.
That was a hard-hitting defense that played
they were
really
number
well.
8 against the run, but they were last against the pass. And that's what teams that beat them just made them defend them in the pass.
That is true.
Why even – I mean, if the run doesn't work, then you have to go to the pass. And in that type of case, if you can't stop both, I mean, you have to stop the run first. There's no question about that, because then you can't control the clock, and you're not going to win a lot of games if you can't control the clock and you can't control the run. But let's not forget, we were dead last in the NFL in stopping the rush last year.
Absolutely.
And then this year we finished 8th. That's insane. That is a great stat.
Most great defenses are run stoppers. They're going to stop. They're going to stop the run. Right. We're going to shut this run down. You're not running. You're not running for 80 yards on us. And because we can do that with our front 4, we can stop the run, and now our ends can push upfield. We can get pressure on you. Now we've got a backfield with an extra defender back there. Now we're not leaving you a window to throw in, and we give you a guy coming off the edge, 4 or 5, chasing down your quarterback. That's what great defenses do. There's very few defenses that are great on the front side, up front, and in the secondary, too. We've seen a few of them. Well, think about it. Even the 85 Bears, if you really look at it, where were they great at? Up front. They're great up front, and they're linebackers. Safety play, okay. They came down and they filled for the most part, but it was that front 7 that was making everything happen.
When you have a dominant front 7, it doesn't matter what the back 4. It really doesn't when you have a dominant front 7.
And that's the biggest
problem.
problem.
In our case, we have a great back 4, in my opinion. We really do. If we can keep them healthy, maybe find a replacement for Eddie Jackson, because he's getting up there in age and he's still pretty much can't tackle water if he fell out of a boat. Like, when it comes down to those, linebackers, I love our linebacking core. And I know everybody was upset about what happened with Roquan Smith. We wouldn't have these 3 linebackers right now.
3 for 1. It was a 3-for-1 deal. It was almost like our running back core. We just didn't turn out as well as we thought it would. We saw what Montgomery is.
With a good offensive line, we saw a good, and they're not great offensive line in New York, but they have a way better offensive line than we do. And Montgomery had a phenomenal season.
Well, here's the thing: Montgomery less than 1,000 yards, but and shout out to Roquan and what they were able to do in Baltimore. But let me ask you this: with the 2 candidates that really seem to be at the forefront of this OC search, which is Shane Waldron and Clint Kubiak. All right.
Say that twice.
So, I'm going to say it 3 times. It'll be really nice.
Right?
So, Shane Waldron, from all indication, should be the forerunner for the Seahawks job to replace Pete Carroll.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see a scenario where they let him out of the building, but if so, maybe he should be the automatic hire for the Bears. And I can't see someone who's that hot taking a coordinator job, a lateral move, instead of taking a step up.
And that's my whole thing, G. Why would a guy come
unless
in here
you're
that's
offering
hot?
in that assistant coach position type thing.
Yeah, but
Chicago.
but now, will Eberflus even stand for something like that? Because almost like you're demoting him now.
Well, I think he was demoted. Literally.
Yeah.
I think he was demoted. We just don't know
When the DC that
demotion.
he brought in had those allegations against him, that was like a demotion. And, I mean, one other thing we didn't say about Eberflus, and I've spoken to a few current Bears players about this, and we'll give kudos to him. As rough and down, like up and down season it was, that locker room never disappeared.
That's
they
true.
always played hard for each other. And that is hard to do for a head coach to keep that.
Well, here's the other one. With Clint Kubiak, I think the better DC that could be a head coach is still sitting at the 49ers right now. But then that's my opinion. But when you got an OC now, 36-year-old Clint Kubiak, who has worked with a myriad of people, from the Broncos to the Vikings. He's had, I think, the 21 Vikings, he had them ranked number one in several areas. Again, having Justin Jefferson will help that also.
Yeah.
But from what you see, if you're looking at those two candidates, is there a clear – because I've heard rumor mill said that this week they're going to solidify who the OC is going to be, and probably the OC will be your assistant head coach. So if it's Eric Bieniemy, if it's Clint Kubiak, if it's Shane Waldron, any of these men, do you see anybody as a clear-cut forerunner for this OC position?
It's going to come down to what the discussions is what they're going to do with that number one pick as well. We can't forget that. Like, another name you didn't bring up, I don't think they will get him, but Greg Roman as well.
Yeah,
that's another name to bring up. If they're bringing him in, that is a pretty much guarantee that you're keeping Justin Fields.
Well, see, that's
a 100% guarantee.
That was my thing earlier when we first started this conversation about Baltimore. The question was, why wasn't Greg Roman able to do more with Baltimore when he had that opportunity?
Yeah.
And a quarterback who I'm going to say pretty much is on par. Justin is on par with.
Who?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
I mean,
come on now.
Yes, he is.
This is the thing. When I don't want to compare him to him because I don't want Justin to be that type of quarterback. Because the thing is, when you look at Justin, and I hate to go back to college, but people say he can't throw in the pocket. That's all Justin did was throw in the pocket at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He was, in my opinion, and this is not a knock on Lamar Jackson, Justin is a better passer than Lamar Jackson is, if you can give him an OC to work with. But then you're also going to come in, and this is also another thing with Greg Roman, is why didn't wide receivers want to come knocking on the doors to play with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson?
Well,
the word is they did not like how Greg Roman ran an offense.
Well, they
so
know they
we have wide receivers
right.
here.
They moved they recreated that offense to fit around what Lamar Jackson does best.
Correct.
And Lamar Jackson has easy speed, right?
So you're saying that Justin Fields doesn't have
Justin
that
Fields has Justin Fields can accelerate, right? He can get going. But if you saw Lamar Jackson today, that was just easy acceleration. Whenever he needed, and he was always under control. The one thing about Justin, if you know what, Lamar Jackson sees the field pretty well.
He does, but he is
in what is he in, like his 7th, 8th year in the NFL, though?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, he didn't read the offense that well in his first 3 years.
And here's the bigger point to the whole Lamar Jackson comparable. Justin Fields was a better college quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
So are we saying that Justin Fields has the opportunity that you think he's going to be a one-time MVP of the league?
If given the right opportunity, yes.
I actually agree with that as well. I'm not comparing Justin Fields to, say, like a Mitch Trubisky or something like that. Somebody where we just struck out. Mitch Trubisky couldn't throw the ball. When you see sparks of Justin Fields, when he does have time in that pocket, that guy throws darts. And he throws a beautiful deep ball, right, perfect accuracy, right in the player's hands and everything. Like, he is a beautiful passer.
Yeah, his mechanics are great.
His biggest issue is vision actually reading the route to throw the ball before the runner actually gets there.
Correct.
I mean,
That's
that sounds
his biggest
great.
issue.
That sounds
He
great.
takes too long.
He does. He takes too long trying to make a play happen. But let's think about this. In college, who was his comp?
Oh, I know where you're going with this, and you're not wrong with that. Like, I mean, he had great wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
His receivers were like 5, 6, 7 yards, like pretty much like watching the Packers game. Like when you're seeing Jordan Love throw these footballs, his receivers are wide open.
Wide open.
Like, I mean, it's absolutely insane. But that is an offensive scheme. The 49ers also get receivers wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't the Bears get these receivers wide open? Because this stupid offensive scheme that Getsy ran had the receivers so bunched up to the point where you did not have open space in the field. You've never had open space in the field.
But also the Bears really never had a burner that could actually catch the ball. You know what I'm saying?
DJ Moore, DJ Moore is a burner.
But yeah, what I'm saying, before DJ Moore, they really did.
Before him, yes.
Yeah, they didn't have a burner. Now you had a guy who could take and he could push the ball downfield. The problem, as you said, the Bears don't want to throw that ball into the slot receiver. I don't understand why they won't give it to and put it on him in those slant routes. But I
don't either.
I don't understand that. To me, that seems a thing that would be just. How many times have you seen the Bears are 3rd and 4, and they're throwing that stupid
Yeah, I know.
that stupid behind. They're throwing that screen over there,
right?
Or they're trying to run
bubble screen,
or they're trying to run that little bubble. They run that little option off the running back if he's going to read what's going on out there, instead of just putting him in the pocket, hit his back foot on the 3rd step, and driving that ball in the slot, keeping it down, and just get those 4 or 5 yards. Yeah. But a lot of times the Bears would not do it, and I just don't understand if Getsy just never really trusted.
It was not
Justin.
in his playbook, I feel like.
You think so? Well, impossible. Yeah, it's possible.
I just really don't. And I mean, you think about that. I mean, as ugly as can be, that last Bears-Packers game,
right?
They had a beautiful set, which made it number 14th in the season, slant play to DJ Moore, where it was a 21-yard gain.
Yeah.
They did not call another slant the rest of the game. When you have a quarterback like Justin, who does struggle in picking up blitzes, all right, when you read a blitz, yes, screen passes can help prevent blitzes as well because you're getting the ball off, but why don't we ever see these 3-step drop strikes right to the middle to a slant receiver?
And
I just don't get it.
And what you don't see him do a lot, where you saw the great quarterbacks, the Bradys and everybody else, from whichever place the blitz comes, they put the ball right back in that same spot.
Exactly. Always.
And they always have a route set up for that. There's always an alert. If that guy's blitzing from there, that receiver is going to fill that spot, either on a slant or something. And they're going to play basketball. They're going to box out that defender, and we're just going to take that 7 or 8 yards. If you guys keep wanting to send that guy at us like that, we're going to keep beating you with the same play. And that's one thing the Bear I found would not do. If you found something that was working, let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it until they stop it.
Don't stop until they prove that it cannot be stopped.
Yeah, and I just don't understand.
Way too many times where we had a very good first half of football this season, and then we went into the second half doing something completely different.
Well, I think the Bears, for whatever reason, they wanted to be smart. And they thought, well, we're going to switch things up. And that's not what the good teams do. The good teams say, hey, we're going to play bully ball. If you can't stop it, we're going to beat you. If you can't stop these slant plays, we're just going to keep, as they call, matriculating the football down the field. Yeah. But the Bears were behind the sticks all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we look at a situation right now. I mean, with the Bears, frankly, I know you got to talk about this a little bit. My biggest problem right now is this. I know we're going to talk about this ad nauseum. I am concerned, Frank, with this first pick, because it almost like the Bears have set themselves up for failure. It's just, I mean, this pick is going to make you or break you for the next decade. And so now you're wondering, and I got worried when they bounced Getsy so quickly, right? Because my thing was, okay, was that just a knee-jerk move, or was that a move saying, okay, we're opening this up for you, your top OCs. If you want to come in, we'll blew everybody out. You can bring your whole group. Is Cliff Kingsbury, are they going to say, hey, bring everybody with you? Is this going to look like USC now, or what's going to happen?
when it comes down to that, like, I mean, getting rid of Getsy, I think pretty much 100% of Chicago was 100% for that. Like, I mean, that had to happen because he, in my opinion, is the major reason for the failing development of Justin Fields. And you got rid of the quarterback coach too. He's obviously got to be that as well. But when you're bringing in offensive coordinators now, you're going to have so many different varieties coming in telling you, all right, give me your game plan with not just Justin, but with Caleb Williams as well. Like, who is going to work better with you? Who is going to do better for your system? But in my eyes, I would love them to take the Houston Texans route. And another one with Clint Kubiak, he's the offensive coordinator I would love to have. Anybody that comes off of the Kyle Shanahan tree right now is a winner to me, and I love the way that they run an offense because they don't bring in a scheme for your quarterback. They build your quarterback, or they build a scheme for your quarterback. That is exactly what they did in Houston and why C.J. Stroud had such a phenomenal rookie season. Like, that is the stuff you need to do. Put your damn egos aside and do what's best for the team. Like, if I am sitting in that interview room and if somebody comes in and goes like, oh, Justin will fit well in my system, you're not getting the job. Get out of here. just get out. Like, unless you're coming in here to tell me that you are going to sit down with Justin and build a playbook and an offensive scheme for what he does well, then I don't want you in this organization.
Wow. You know what? Let me ask you one more thing. I know you got to get ready to get out of here, but Jalen Johnson named the Bears Defensive Player of the Year. Is he a max cornerback in the league?
I think when you added the addition of Montez Sweat, that made him a max quarterback because he was able to actually push up a lot more and actually go for those picks instead of playing it safe in coverage. But, I mean, it's a very tough decision because you're thinking max, you're probably going to have to pay him $19, $20 million a year.
Okay.
That is pretty much like the max of corners right now. And I like Jalen. I'm all for. I want to keep Jalen. But we really got to get more help on that defensive front. We can't just rely on Montez Sweat. I like what some of our rookies did to finish the year. Hell, Christian Jones actually finished the year pretty solid, but that's because he was always right next to Montez Sweat. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it's a very tough decision because next year you're going to have to play Brisker and you're going to have to pay Kyler Gordon too. So if I was GM, he would be franchised this year. And then I would decide between him, Brisker, and Kyler Gordon on who are the two out of the three that I'm going to pay. Because I always keep saying this, and again, I'm not ripping on Jalen. Kyler Gordon could play a dominant outside corner position too, and he would be cheaper than Jalen Johnson.
But the question is now, okay, look, we have this defense now that we're saying, okay, this is the defense that's going to take us, right? Do we have? We know we're well under the cap and everything, but that's going to really quick now. That's going to fill up because we got a lot of spaces to fill up.
Absolutely.
Do you see them spending more money on the defensive side of the ball trying to keep these guys together? Because we all know once these guys start playing well, more money is going to be demanded really quickly. So you wonder how long are they going to be able to keep – is there enough time with the defense? This is what I'm worried about, Frank. With the defense, is there enough time? Do we have enough time to keep this defense together to get this offense caught up quickly by burning our cap?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to – I mean, I think Poles has done a great job in what he has done to fix a lot of the offense so far. It's gotten him better. But you're going to be spending your draft picks mainly on offense, and you're going to be spending your salary cap on defense. Unless a dominant pass rusher slips and you lose out on, like, a tackle in that first round at, like, the 9th pick. But, I mean, in my opinion, do I think it can happen? Yes. But you really have to hit a home run on these first 3 rounds of this draft if you want that to happen.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's one of those things where you really have to do your research. Poles and whoever else is there, Cunningham, Poles, however this is going to work, they're going to have to really do their research and find someone. But before you get ready to get out of here, Frank, let our listeners know, how do they keep up with you and how do they follow what you and CCP are doing?
I mean, yes, I'm from the Chicago Clubhouse Network. I'm going to say I'm a part of the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. We go every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Great show. We have great guests on. We had Eric Kramer on this past week, which was phenomenal guest because we wanted to get a quarterback and get his take. And I mean, tune in, watch. We got multiple different shows. We got Easy Does It that usually airs on Wednesdays. We used to have a midweek review during bear season, so we're going to have to try to fill up our Thursday now to find something else. But all you got to do, YouTube mainly. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. It's all the Chicago Clubhouse Network. And I vouch in us not drafting Caleb Williams, trying your absolute best, everyone, to stay in the top 3, trade back, and get me Marvin Harrison Jr.
Absolutely.
To play next to DJ Moore next year, and then hopefully Joe Alt slips at 9, and we get that offensive tackle on the left side from Notre Dame too. Dream come true scenarios right there.
That would be Christmas. That would be Christmas. Yeah. Man, you talking about a bunch of happy Bear fans? Whoa!
That would be the dream come true, because if you do get that trade back, you're probably getting that second round pick back too that you got for Montez Sweat. And then you're going out and getting that center from Georgia who will be starting day one as well, because we desperately need a center as well.
See, what we need to go is get Kevin Costner from draft day, and he could just make all this happen.
Oh, man. Hey. It's funny that you say that, because I do truly feel Caleb Williams is a Bo Callahan.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, no.
I have friends at USC who have told me on numerous occasions that he is not a nice man. Well, in this case, not a nice kid.
I'm going to say this. I don't think the kid can handle the Chicago press.
I agree.
If there's one thing that Justin can do, he's been able to handle the Chicago media better than anybody else could have.
We saw that kid up
and
crying
he
on
is
his mom's shoulder.
beyond tougher than somebody like Caleb Williams as well. Beyond tougher.
So, Frank, man, we thank you so much for coming on, man. You know it's always a great time when you're listening to Frank the Tank here on The Sizzle, here on WGVE 88.7 FM.